At least a little bit sometimes, so. I can go back to the screen.
Fine.
I'll just keep getting.
Dave, how are you?
There's no cord in there, just a bunch of wires. There's no plug. No, it's not that big of a deal.
The AC's on, so you could probably focus right here.
Oh yeah, is that a,
So that's the.
that's like 220?
Is that a 220?
Yeah, okay, Dave, you can plug it right in.
Plug right.
Yeah, we don't want to turn on the AC.
No. May as well.
But. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Michaela, you ready to go?
I am.
Okay. You're the chair.
Okay, we have everybody there.
Everybody is here.
All right, I will call this meeting to order. Perfect. 6 o'clock on July 9th, 2026. The Planning Commission meeting is. First, we have, we need to approve the minutes from our June 12th, 2025 meeting. And I'll entertain a motion to move forward with that.
I so moved that we approve those minutes of June 12th, 2025.
Well, second that.
Okay, we have a, perfect. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any opposed? All in favor? Say aye. Aye. Chair votes aye. Minutes are approved. Next on the agenda, we need to move through the process of electing the Planning Commission Chair as well as Vice Chair. Are there any motions?
I'd like to
You ready to
nominate
do that?
you to be the chair.
I second that.
Okay, to confirm, was that me to be the chair?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, okay. Okay, we have a second. Any discussion?
I did.
Then, yes, go ahead.
No, you seconded.
I seconded the nomination.
I got it.
Okay,
Okay.
yes, then we move to discussion. Any discussion? No discussion. I'm looking for nods. I can see your guys' heads, but that's all I'm getting. Okay, no discussion. All in favor, say aye.
I
Aye, chair votes aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. I will continue to be the chair. With that, we'll move on to the vice chair. I would entertain a motion to nominate a vice chair.
I nominate Joanne Wittenberg. Okay, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to votes. All in favor, say aye.
I
Aye. Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposition. Joanne is appointed as vice chair. Thank you. And next I see that we're moving on to the public hearing. I don't have my script if there's something prescriptive that needs to be spoken to, so you might have to help me with that.
I have
But
a
if
script.
Okay,
I have a. script.
I move to let you do that, Gordon.
Thank you very much. Public hearing on the proposed amendments for the community development code is called to order. Public hearing this evening will be conducted as follows. Staff will present the staff report. Questions of any by the planning commission for staff. Receive any written testimony. We'll then open the public hearing for testimony. Time will be limited to 5 minutes per person. Any interested person may present testimony. We'll then close the public hearing and no other comments will be heard from the public. Final comments by staff. Questions of staff, if any, by the planning commission again, and discussion by the planning commission. If you wish to speak, fill out one of the request to speak forms and submit it to the city recorder or the city administrator, whoever. Prior to the time the public hearing is open for testimony, the planning commission chair will recognize people who wish to speak and any comments must be addressed through the chair. When you come forward, please state your name, place of residence for the record, as this hearing will be recorded. Please speak clearly and precisely. In reaching a decision on this item, the planning commission may be required to consider whether the matter meets relevant approval criteria and any other applicable law. If applicable, those criteria are identified in the staff report, and testimony and evidence must address these criteria or other criteria you believe apply to the decision. So, staff,
Great.
we have Caitlin Cook from AKS here to present the staff report.
I can share my screen to the slides up.
Oh, thank you.
The minute here, okay. Looks like we're then. All right. Hello, commissioners and Chair Keller. My name is Caitlin. I'm a contract planner on behalf of the city of Cascade Locks. I'm here to present about a proposed text amendment to allow RV campgrounds as a permitted use in the light industrial zoning district. So to give a little bit of an overview, this revises the Cascade Locks Development Code, Chapter 6.84. This it prescribes development standards for the light industrial zone in the Cascade Locks urban growth boundary. It adds RV campgrounds as a permitted use. Now, this is considered a zone change. This does not include any rezoning of land, changing land use designation. It just allows for an additional permitted use within the zone. In your packets today, you have the ordinance recommended for city council adoption. On this slide, you can see the zoning map. The light green, it's small. The light green is a light industrial area. As you can see, much of the zoning district abuts or is near the Columbia River. Taking a look at what's currently allowed for RV campgrounds, it is a conditional use in the downtown commercial, resort commercial, and the public zoning districts. It is currently not allowed or not permitted in the light industrial zone. So with the staff report, we looked at the text amendments to make sure it was compliant with statewide planning goals, Oregon administrative rules and statutes, as well as the Cascade Locks comprehensive plan. So the staff report evaluated compliance and the public notices met goal 1 for statewide planning with full public notice, this hearing, and of course, planning commission review. Following this review, it'll go to city council. Goal 2, it aligns with goal 2 as it amends aligns zoning with adopted economic and tourism goals. Light industrial zone lands can accommodate a range of uses, adding RV campgrounds to the implementing the plan's direction to update zoning for a changing community needs while not introducing it that is more intense to the light industrial district. RV campgrounds are typically considered a lighter use than what's currently allowed in the light industrial zoning district. Aligns with goal 5, natural resources and open space, as the design guidelines can preserve scenic and small town character, with the RVs being small scale structures, and the allowance for additional open space in between the camp spaces is considered to be complementing the scenic area and open space character. Any future development is subject to all of the design requirements and standards as typical for permitted use in this area. It aligns with goal 8 recreational needs of RV campgrounds, our visitor accommodation and our recreational lodging facility. So this expands really what folks can access and what can be developed in order to meet those recreational needs. Economic development is met. The economic opportunity analysis for the city of Cascade Locks actually identifies tourism and recreation as a key economic driver in the area. For example, Hood River County tourism supported around 1,030 jobs, which is about 72 million in direct visitor spending. And I included that in the staff report if you all wanted to take a look. So this amendment expands on visitor serving uses in this zoning district, as well as the city coordinated with the Port of Cascade Locks with this text amendment to preserve the industrial development potential and not to take away or impact those permitted uses in the light industrial zoning district. For public facilities, there's really no change in infrastructure standards. Future RV campgrounds must demonstrate adequate public facilities at development review per the city capital improvement policies. So staff found that applicable goals were found to be consistent with statewide planning goals. In regards to the Oregon administrative rules and statutes, there are multiple details in the staff report. However, I wanted to highlight 2 here that are most pertinent to the proposed text amendments. The first is the industrial land protection. So this requires that comprehensive plans identify adequate land supply for industrial and employment uses, and that implementing measures protect and provide serviceable industrial sites. All right, so we want to protect our industrial lands. So the proposed amendment doesn't convert or diminish any of the industrial land supply in terms of acreage, right? The light industrial zone lands remain available for industrial and employment uses related. So the city coordinated with the port and confirmed that there is no conflict with any of the planned industrial development for this zoning district. Additionally, the RV occupancy protection outlined in ORS 197.493 provides that a state agency or local government may not prohibit the placement, occupancy, or impose a time limit of an RV as a residential dwelling solely on the grounds that the occupancy isn't in an RV, subject to certain conditions. So this amendment adds RV campgrounds as a transient or visitor serving use. Doesn't restrict RV occupancy as a residential dwelling where otherwise legally permitted. So it doesn't really touch on those limiting factors. It's consistent, we found it to be consistent with this ORS. Lastly, we take a look at comprehensive plan consistency. So the text amendment has followed the outline procedures for text amendments, which are subject to public notice, public hearings, and therefore aligning with the comprehensive plan goal of citizens' involvement and agency coordination. The text amendment supports comprehensive plan goal of commercial and industrial revitalization and development as it expands on the flexibility of permitted uses to support tourism and economic diversification. The plan directs job creation via the economic development plan and an adequate commercial and industrial land supply. As stated previously, the amendment broadens the industrial zone uses, supporting business expansion and new tourism enterprises. And then finally, the comprehensive plan calls for zoning to be regularly updated to reflect community and state changes, ensuring orderly development while also requiring timely, efficient provision of utilities and public services within the urban growth boundary. This amendment satisfies both directives. It updates the light industrial zoning standards to meet evolving economic needs without altering the existing infrastructure standards or capacity, because all of these proposed developments are still going to be required to meet current infrastructure capacity utility needs. Any future RV campgrounds remain subject to full compliance and must demonstrate adequate public facilities at the time of development review. So to conclude, Staff finds the proposed amendments consistent with statewide planning goals, Oregon administrative rules and revised statutes, and the Cascade Lots comprehensive plan. So planning commission's options include to approve the amendments to the Cascade Lots Development Code, chapter 8-6.84, and recommend city council adoption of ordinance number 472. You could move to approve the amendments with revisions, or you could retain the existing chapter standards, which would basically be to deny the subject text amendments. So that concludes the staff report for this evening. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that the commission has at this moment. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, Caitlin. Are there any questions from any commissioners in the room? Yep, go ahead, Butch.
Chair, I've come in late to this, so I didn't get to hear a lot of other things. But my concerns are, we have a KOA here in town. And this, the person that owns it now is saying she's going to put it up for sale because of this coming in. Is it the purpose of the city or to create a business that will push another business out of town?
So
Well,
in regards,
Yep, go ahead. Thank
Okay.
you.
so in regards to the text amendment, we don't consider necessarily another private business entity. However, when reviewing the analysis for the economic opportunities analysis for Cascade Lots and Travel Oregon data, it suggested that tourism glamping facilities was a desired tourism attribute. So I can give you that. I can't speak to necessarily the competitiveness of one business to another. Does that make sense?
But this is, what this looks like is government against private industry. And
Butch, this is a use that's looking to be added to the code. It's not specifically approving an individual one way or the other. It's simply adding a use to the code that exists, which provides a path to move forward should an entity so choose to do so. Kaylin, you did a lovely job presenting. I do have a question as it relates to ORS 197-493 with regards to the residency RV piece. Could you tease that out a little bit more and just speak to what the intentions of that are and how this will comply with the requirements, but then additionally speak to ensuring that this remains short term within the components of the law?
So
Does that make sense?
Oh, sorry. So, in the code, we couldn't impose any time limits on an occupancy based on that it's just a RV space. So I guess it's a permitted use and it's obviously intended to serve transient and visitor serving uses. However, in order to be compliant with this ORS, we cannot limit the time that a person can stay in the site, in the campsite.
Caitlin, I have a question. I understood at one time motels couldn't have anybody stay in the motel over a certain length of time. They could stay at a motel for a certain length and then they could move to another room or whatever, but they couldn't stay for like a resident. Is that still true?
I can't speak to the hotel requirement, however, with the RV campgrounds, it's just the city can't impose those kind of limitations. However, the business entity could, create those kind of limitations.
I have a couple other questions. We talked about the industrial land, and so how much, and then maybe this should be directed to the port, how much industrial land is there? And what percentage of that land would be used for the RV or if you wanna do percentages or acres or whatever.
You know, I should have had the exact acreage of the light industrial zone included in the application. I don't have that on the top of my head this evening. However, I'd be happy to get back to you on that question. One thing I would like to highlight though is that, you know, this is one permitted use in the host of many. So even if it was, you know, such and such acreage of light industrial area, this is where it is permitted if it could meet the conditions of the code. Right, so it's permitted on its face, it still needs to meet the requirements of an administrative review. So that does require a property owner notice, but it just doesn't require a public hearing like a conditional use permit.
Okay, I just am curious.
So I appreciate your questions.
Give you about a ballpark, there's about 62 acres out in the industrial park.
Say that again.
About 62 acres in the industrial park. Columbia Gorge Way takes about 20% of that. So another 20% is on the east side of Columbia Gorge Way that goes down the hill where the picnic area is. And then the other is the east of Paramount Wood Products. And just north of there, and it's about 20 acres. There's not a,
I got a map, here's where.
Okay.
look at that.
Light industrial is this right here, so this is where the. Easy Climb Trail is, it's this little lot here. And then you go down to Blackbird Beach,
Right,
and then in between, there's a heavy industrial. This right here is
Another zoning map, it's for reference.
yeah, it's just that map, yeah.
yeah, that's green, yours is purple, like,
Yeah, so they're just those two lots, really, we're talking about just two lots, right?
Well, there's three different zoning patches, I guess you could say.
Yeah, down to 40, the third.
Oh my gosh, that's not bad idea. Yeah, I tried to zoom it in so you could see a little more, it's so
Yeah.
small.
maybe
Yeah,
this
this
is
is all
in
the
a,
works buildings down here,
right,
and then, yeah.
and then, yeah.
I'm sort of leaving that.
Maybe this is an inappropriate question, but would the port close their campground in the marine park?
That's
That's up to them.
That's not part of this discussion.
I know, but I,
Yep, agreed. Yep, not part of the discussion.
right, I know.
Well,
that,
all
but
we're
I-
looking at is the code in front of us as far as whether or not we are interested in moving forward with the proposed amendments, simply adding number 5 as a use that is subject to standards with regards to the code as recreational vehicle campground. That's what it comes down to.
This would make it a conditional use, correct?
No, it would be a permitted use, so it'd be an administrative. Yep. Yeah, the administrative review, so it would still require that property notice. However, it wouldn't require a public hearing such as planning commission unless it couldn't meet certain standards or something like this.
Okay, so there's the residency thing though.
Mhm.
Theoretically, if somebody wanted to just take their lot and say, hey, I wanna let a bunch of RVs stay here.
Mhm.
It'd be permitted use, and then they could just turn it into could it be a loophole or a backdoor to turn light industrial into RV parks?
There's state code that I can't point to that would govern all that kind of issue. It's not gonna. Well, we haven't seen our application yet. This just allows.
It allows it, but you know, there's all that Bear Mountain area, so if whoever owns that is like, hey. We now get RV parking or camping ground, and guess what? A bunch of people are living
They have to
there.
go through the same process. Anybody would have to go through an application, go through all of our codes and the planners and do everything else. They still have to meet all of the requirements in any application and administrative review.
State statute does limit it. And that's for any of the existing RV park campgrounds as well, that the city cannot dictate it on the basis solely that it's an RV.
And that's tied to discrimination with regards to housing availability and otherwise providing for needs that exist. And that came out of some of the disaster recovery stuff related to the fires through the valley too, that they adjusted and modified a lot of the different uses, specifically RVs, as they could be used for emergent type uses. But also for residential stuff. So I think what I heard you say though, Caitlin, was that while the code doesn't specifically require or limit the timeframes, there would be a mechanism through an application, provided the application was, requesting or proposed to limit timeframes to a period of 30 days, for example, or less. And that then would be basically a self-imposed limitation on what was requested by the applicant. Is that fair?
I could look into it a little bit more, but the applicant could put those limitations on their business entity. If they wanted to do a tourism facing, RV park, which in the light industrial zone, things like this, they could do it. They would have that kind of option, correct? We just can't limit the time frame.
Can you speak to the difference between a RV campground and a mobile home camp?
So
Facility.
an RV would be, it's defined in the Oregon planning. I can pull it up right now. But RV definitions would follow state statute between mobile home park and what is considered an RV or recreational vehicle. I can pull that up as well. You can just give me a moment.
While Caitlin's looking, are there any other questions? I've lost video feed. I don't know if you guys can still see me, but you're gonna have to speak up if there's anyone that's interested.
And with campgrounds here, how does it work with the building code? Are all of those required to have utilities through the city's code, or is that through a general building code?
So they would be required with building codes on, the type, the amount. All of the structural needs for the RV park campground, yes. Yeah, I mean, and also,
That's a general building code.
Yeah.
Okay. And why would we make it not a conditional use? Versus not permitted use?
so that, I can speak to this, so the idea is that. In the light industrial zone, the other uses that are permitted are much less intense than the RV campground. So for manufacturing, for example, things like this, it was, in terms of matching the intensity of the use. RV parks they're less intense than the other permitted uses in the zoning district. So such as, light industrial services, community services, vehicle sales, rental and repair oriented retail sales and service, entertainment, entertainment oriented retail sales or services that are conducted indoors or outdoors. So yeah, specifically the light industrial services and manufacturing production are seen as, to be more intense than the proposed RV campgrounds. Which is why it's a permitted use rather than a conditional. Especially comparing that to the other zones where it is a conditional use, such as the downtown and commercial zone. Those zones are, don't have light manufacturing production and those kind of uses as permitted in the subject zoning district. That's where the matchup kind of comes from there in terms of intensity of use.
I wanted to check, I think it's on page 5, and it says finding number 2, the transportation planning.
Mhm.
So it should coordinate with the transportation planning of Cascade Locks. But I'm thinking if everybody comes out the entry to the industrial area and then turns right and comes down Forest Lane, people at Forest Lane having a parade of RV parks are leaving the day after the 4th of July or whatever, if they're gonna. I mean, but I don't know if we have, I'm unaware that we have a transportation plan that talks about the number of vehicles and. And because we have a problem right now with Friday afternoon trying to get through town. In Cascade Locks, 20 minutes to get,
But that's not caused by traffic from the industrial park.
no, it isn't, but
There's,
So the,
the city is currently doing a transportation system plan, which will address all kinds of those kinds of issues.
right,
And will be available early next year. So it would be able to apply to whatever development is made in the future. But like, big RVs don't speed necessarily down. So this traffic would probably be a lot slower going down Forest Lane
okay,
than like the gentleman that passed me on the double line this morning.
yeah,
So
I would also add that when, at the time of the development of a campground or any kind of use, they are still subject to the conditions of the administrative review process, which can include a transportation impact analysis. So sometimes that is site specific. It's just not directly like required with this code amendment.
okay.
Hope that's clear.
Just a side note, my kids grew up here. And they can't believe that we have a traffic jam on Friday afternoon. They said, you gotta be kidding, in Cascade Locks, no, we have a traffic jam. Oh, shoot.
Hopefully that's a lot more temporary than the code amendment that we're proposing tonight.
Well, yeah,
Lots of discussion. Do we have any more questions for Caitlin? If not, I'd be happy to entertain a motion to move forward.
well, we don't have any written testimony unless Bronson written, no?
Thank you, Gordon.
Thank you, you're welcome. And then we can open the public hearing for testimony. Time will be limited to 5 minutes per person. Any interested person can present testimony. If there's anyone who would like to present testimony on this amendment.
The board is in support of this. We believe that it retains the light industrial property for potential future uses. This town could drastically change in 20 years, and we may need a large industrial employer out in that light industrial land. So it retains its current usages, and we think that that's it's a valuable piece of it. We also believe it could be a lighter use than what it is currently able to take on. We think it speaks somewhat to the types of developments that the port is interested in moving forward with, as well as the constituents that voted for the commissioners that are looking at that as a potential option. But generally, we are in support of it, and the flexibility that it gives the port.
That was Mr. Jeremiah Blue, Executive Director of the Port of Cascade Locks.
Thank you. I apologize. It's not on this side very often.
So that was a statement in favor. Any statements in opposition or general statements for the good of the order? I don't see a lot of bodies in there. Okay, Gordon, I'll let you close the hearing with that.
Close there, it's done. Final comments by staff? I'm gonna take a shot at this one. The port and the city are vitally interested in the economics and the improvement in the economy for this community. This community's economy is based on tourism and some of the best restaurants around. And the RV park, they would bring more tourists to town. They would bring more patrons to our restaurants. And it would also bring transient lodging tax that would go to the city. The 8.5% that would substantially improve our marketing for our community. and help the city's general fund, because 70% of the transfer room tax goes to our general fund to support all the services that support the infrastructure for this. So it benefits the city in several different ways. Plus, it does bring some employment.
What's it?
Questions
Thank
by
you, Gordon.
staff?
Could you verify the percentage of TRT taxes that stay with the city?
100% of the TRT taxes stays with the city. 70% goes to the general fund, 30% goes to the tourism fund.
Thank you.
And Gordon, is every RV, every individual RV have to pay that tax?
Absolutely.
Okay. Not as a whole lot or anything, just.
RV, tent, whatever. So if they're providing lodging for tourists in town, 7% comes, or 7% comes to the city, 1.5% goes to the state. But they just passed that law that's another percent of 3/4 is gonna go support hunting. And wild animals, I don't know, but that's, the state gets that money, we get the 7%.
All right, well, can I make a motion to add RV campgrounds as a permitted use in light industrial zoning?
Yeah,
Let's close the public hearing first.
Okay,
Hearing is closed. Mr. Lips,
all right, I'd like to make a motion to add RV campgrounds as a permitted use in the light industrial zoning district.
I second that, but
Okay, which,
it's on page 9, but I'm not sure which page 9. Towards the back.
Okay, so we have a second, which means we can move to discussion. Joanne, I'll let you drive here. Tell us what you're looking at.
you look at the motion.
Yeah. It's about
okay, I got it here. I move to approve the amendments to CLCDC chapter 8-6.84. Add RV campground as permitted use in the zone light industrial district and consistent with the comprehensive plan policy statewide and any goals and applicable ORS and recommended adoption of ordinance number 472 by the city council.
I second that motion.
Perfect, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Butch,
I'm gonna abstain since I'm so late in this.
okay, we have one abstention. Dave,
The vote yes, or
Joanne,
Yeah,
chair votes yes, motion passes. Thank you. Gordon, Caitlin, do we have anything else this evening that we need to go over?
We have no other business at this point. Is there any other public comment? If not, thank you.
Thank you. Meeting is adjourned, 6:38, July 9th, 2026.
hold on, what about commissioner comments on that? Because I have some questions.
Sorry, Dave, go ahead.
We didn't have that on the agenda.
Oh, okay, it's just,
What would you like to know?
okay, this, I have a question about what the process is right now for the renovation of the fire hall.
Okay.
The state board give us $10,000.
Take that one.
Okay,
But here's a short synopsis. We have an application, it's going through the planning process. When it comes to, and it's currently out for review, you should get a letter tomorrow.
yeah,
Or maybe you got it today. Noticing the improvements. After the comment period ends July 22nd, staff will finalize the report. It goes to administrative review. We'll make a decision with findings. At that point.
I guess my question is just generally like, it's been 8 months in the process now. It's like, what does it take to get businesses in this town, built? And it's like, it's just like, for me, I'm concerned for our community, because I'm like, if everything takes 8 months, it's like, it's gonna just, they only got 3 years on their grant that they got given.
I understand that, but they submitted an application and then they pulled it back. And then they had to resubmit another application because the law changed in the middle of that application. And it took them a while to get that application complete. It was deemed complete last month. And it's now going through the process.
So with the big thing that they came to us about was the garbage disposal. That the city didn't want to share the parking lot next door to their building.
That's correct.
Which already has a garbage truck pull into the parking lot and around the loop.
That's grandfathered in to serve the post.
So
right.
I'm just baffled that the state would give us $400,000 and the city of Cascade Box won't share the parking lot. And the permit process will take 8 months to get something done.
Well, two separate issues, okay? That parking lot it's a parking lot. It's not a through transit thing. It's not designed to be that way. The only reason the garbage truck's in there now is because the post office has been there since Joanne went to high school here. I thought. But the process was delayed by the applicant, not by the city. The applicant was told at the beginning what they needed to have.
But every business building a road to the rear of their building doesn't make sense. And a road that's already built that has a truck going through it, that is the simplest solution. It does make the most sense.
It did not comply with the code and they were told what they needed to have, period. That's all I can tell you.
I mean, from the administrative process, can't we say, yeah, it will lease you the land for 30 years to have your garbage truck and then make the process move along instead of holding it up?
They didn't have a completed application. We can't make a decision if we don't have a completed application. We finally got one. And the conditions were based on the code that exists in the downtown code. They did not meet that code and they were told that over and over and over again. And they tried as many ways as they could get around it as they could, but still did not meet the code. Now the application is in and we're reviewing that to make it meet the code. That's all I can find.
Got it. Okay.
Gordon,
Of course.
are complete applications available for viewing anywhere? Does the city have a portal that they're available to be looked at?
Not until it's deemed, the staff has the opportunity. I don't know if we put that
You
out.
can share. It's public, it's all public record. It can be shared. There's all online as far as I know.
No, it's individual. You have to probably do a records request. I don't
I
know.
can, and they think we share if I need it, yeah.
Caitlin, would that be an email to you that would help facilitate that?
Yeah, send a request to me and I'll forward it to Caitlin. City administrator at cascade-locks.org.us.
Based on the feedback provided by Commissioner Lips, it sounds like perhaps there is room to massage our process a little bit to make it more clear both what is expected and what that looks like, so that through transparency, everybody understands what is happening, when and where. Help to alleviate some confusion or frustration.
I appreciate that. The code was changed, as I understand, I wasn't here last October, which made the process easier, still required an application. And they went back and forth on which process they were going to use.
Okay. Irregardless of the specifics of this situation, just looking to update the process in general to allow for more public communication, transparency, and awareness. Dave makes a good point as far as looking to promote development and, individual use of growing our town, our community. We're all vested in that and have an interest to continue to provide those options. And as resources on this council, it's important for us to be able to understand what those are. And so if we have questions, it's clear that the community at large has questions. And so I look forward to working with you on that and working to better that process.
Thank you.
We opened and closed again. And I think maybe if we're done, we're done. Does anybody have any other final questions? Okay, officially closed.
Thank
Happy
you.
Thursday evening. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioners, appreciate it.
Oh, nice to meet you. Happy, yeah. And you're from the port, that's your time. Okay, you're